So, hello and welcome to the Bold Business Podcast Show. And this is Ross Jones. Today I'm joined by Satara Achille, founder of Eighth. Hi, Satara.
Hello, how are you?
I'm really good, thank you. And it's so good to have you on here. I'm so delighted that you could join us today to share your story. And I just wanted to talk a bit about the journey up to Eighth. So, what inspired you to set up Eighth? And then tell us a bit about it. But tell us about the journey first.
Yeah, of course. So a few years ago, I was on a dating app actually. I met someone on the dating app who then led into stalking me and made me feel incredibly unsafe, which I know a lot of women also experience. At the time, I started to get into Muay Thai, which is it's martial arts, Thai fighting, Thai boxing. I'm also half Thai, so it felt only right to pick up the sport and really connect with my roots again. And at the time, I just started doing Muay Thai just to make myself feel a little bit safer, and it was really helping me. Back then, I think that my journey to healing had only just started. I had this idea for Eighth, which is a community for women that's aimed to support those who have been through sexual assault, domestic violence, harassment, all of the kinds of abuse that a woman could face, which unfortunately is almost virtually all women. As you well know, the statistics are crazy. So that really started my healing journey, really, and it's been about 4 years of working through it. Unfortunately, last year I went through an emotionally abusive relationship, and later in the year I also I was raped. This really triggered my healing journey to accelerate. I was in a really bad place, and as much as I thought I'd learned from previous situations and experiences that I'd faced, for some reason I think the universe was trying to tell me I still had some healing to do, and so I went to Thailand to connect with my roots and really start diving deeper into Muay Thai. And I spent about 7 months there training, which was actually quite difficult, entering a very male dominated space after everything I'd just gone through the year before. But at the same time, with those difficulties, I actually found some great solace in Muay Thai and focus. I did end up actually overtraining, and I got a knee injury, which then which then when you kind of go into something and that becomes your coping mechanism, and then it's ripped from you and you're like, what do I do now? So I then ended up going into yoga and tried to do the bits that I could when it came to training, which then also kind of within that period of time, I had this light bulb moment that I didn't quite know at the time I was on this healing journey. I was just like, I'm just going to go to Thailand. I'm going to throw myself into Muay Thai and I'm just going to see what happens and just hope that I feel better. Towards the end of the 7 months, I had that light bulb moment and was like, wow, okay, this is coming all 360. And I'm understanding now how this is helping me. And also then I began to think, wow, there are so many women who also have their stories to tell and their stories that they're going through and need support. So the two things that I really realized helped me within that journey was, well, actually three: Muay Thai, yoga, and my support network of women. And for me, that was kind of the recipe to my healing. And I thought, this is where Eighth can come in and really help other women as well.
Yeah, amazing. So can I just take you back? So thank you so much for sharing that with us. The guy with the on the dating app, was he like the first sort of story in the saga? of this cycle? Was he the one that sort
Do
of
you know what?
started it?
No,
Okay.
I think it goes really far back.
Right. Okay.
When you have experienced things like that, especially at such a young age, say I was 18 with my first experience of anything like that. I don't think I quite realized at the time what was going on. And I think it's so common for young women to be put in these positions and feel a certain way, feel upset, but we're told that everything's okay, and there isn't as much, I guess, education, because we're so what's the word? Almost silenced to talk about it.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So these kind of conversations and actually being more open about how it makes us feel, what's wrong, what's right, isn't really spoken about. So yeah, I think at the time when I was younger, I didn't even realize what was happening. And I guess because I've been put in a position like that, it kind of then means that there's a pattern that happens. I think
Yes.
that
Yes.
you kind of more accepting. Well, I feel like that's almost like the wrong word to use, but you are put into these other situations, and you have no idea, and you've just got all of this trauma inside you that you feel guilty for and shame because you don't even realize that it's wrong.
Yes. And can you? You don't have to go into the details here, but I'm just really grateful for you for sharing the story, Satara. But have you, through your healing that you talk about, have you been able to trace the origins of the incidents, or is it just something that you've just recognized has happened, and now you're in a better place to stop it happening again? Do you know? Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. Well, actually, back in 2019, when I did first, the crux of all of this starting on my healing journey, I actually had a really bad mental breakdown, and I think a lot of that was an accumulation of all
Yeah.
of these instances. And at the time, I had no idea, and it wasn't until I think last year where I'd realized these patterns sort of happening,
Yeah.
and also realizing that I'm in the power to make those changes because I'm aware of what's going on. And I think before, I almost think I had a bit of more of a victim mentality rather than
Yeah.
a survivor mentality. And I think everything changed for me when I turned it on its head, and I was like, I'm a survivor of that. I'm not a victim.
Yeah.
And I think that rhetoric, even in your own mind, can be really helpful
Yeah.
to healing. And now I feel like I'm in a great place to be like, okay, these are my boundaries. I know what to bring in, and what to kind of, not accept.
Yeah. That's amazing. And well done to you for doing that work on yourself, because it's definitely not easy. But hey, the light bulb moment that came for you just changed everything around. But can we just talk about, you spoke
Yeah.
about how we are as women, and I guess maybe all men and women, I'm not sure, but the extent to which you said we are silenced. And so, what impact is that inability, or inability to speak, or the inability to be heard? What impact has that got on domestic abuse just generally as a societal issue, do you think?
I actually think there's a lot of shame that is attached to these kind of subjects, and the fact that it is uncomfortable to hear, it's then also very uncomfortable to share as well. And I know it's a bit of a taboo subject to talk about, and the fact that it is taboo creates this animosity around the fact it's almost like everything's sort of happening in the darkness, which doesn't help empower women at all. It doesn't educate women into realizing, especially young women, into realizing what's wrong. but it's this discomfort around talking about something, and women are led to feel like they're shamed for something that they had no control over.
Yeah.
In these cases, and it's almost like the shame needs to be flipped to the other
Yes.
side. Why are we so scared to speak up about our experiences and educate other women, well, not even just other women, just and men as well, because I think men need to be invited into the conversation,
Definitely.
because otherwise we're just talking in a vacuum, and the silence just perpetuates the issue.
Yeah. Yeah. And also the fact that when we talk about it, if we are victims or survivors of some form of domestic abuse, it enables us to get help. But in the same thinking, if we're talking about it and we're feeling able to talk about it more openly, then presumably because there are so many victims of domestic abuse, so therefore there are so many perpetrators of domestic abuse, and then surely, this is my thinking, surely the perpetrators might start to think that they need to get help because there's a pattern in their behavior too that's not right. So that's what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
But tell me about...
Yeah, and I think that's really important. Yeah, I think the perpetrators also getting help is probably, it's just as important, because it stops the cycle, it stops the pattern.
Yeah, so important. And that's what, like in our the conference we're doing in 23rd of October, Speaking Out Domestic Abuse and the Workplace, that's the intention of that, is to get people feeling able to speak out, because the idea being that your employer is developing or encouraging a culture where you feel safe to speak out. But tell me about the work of 8th, because it sounds... I love the idea. I love the symbol 8. It's the infinity sign, isn't it? And I'm sure it's got all other sorts of meanings, and I'm sure you're going to share with us. But tell us about the work that you're doing with 8th. It sounds really exciting and so helpful to so many people, I'm sure.
Yes. So 8th is it actually, the name comes from the art of 8 limbs. So Muay Thai, Thai boxing, is known as the art of 8 limbs, and that's where 8th, the name, comes from.
Uh-huh.
And and what we do is we have these workshops where we go through yoga, Muay Thai, meditation, and at the end we wrap it up with a women's circle, where each workshop we focus on a specific topic that sort of aids the healing journey, and it's something that we put a question out there. So for the last one, our event was all based around strength. So to start off the women's circle, we asked each of the women to think about what strength means to them. Then we give about 10 minutes to journal, and then we go around the circle and share. And there's something just so validating about looking around the circle, sharing your story, and just seeing nods, and just feeling like there was just a lot of love in the room, a lot of love, acceptance, and it was quite magical.
Yeah, sounds it.
Yeah.
And I guess the pre-work, the Muay Thai, the yoga and the meditation, I guess that gets you in the right... that gets the channels opened, I guess, and whatever the right mood and energy are in the room.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of tension and aggression that we sort of get out within the Muay Thai session. And sometimes it's just nice to just like hit some pads and get it all out. And then when it comes to meditation and breath work, it's really sort of channeling the mind and being present. And I think it really puts all of us women into... it's almost like we've taken all of this negative energy and we're expelling it out through Muay Thai, and then kind of coming back to ourselves and doing breath work, really being present, so that it puts it in... it's almost like the perfect setup to then really get everything off your mind and share, and also listen to other people's experience, and realizing that we're not alone, and yeah, it's just really validating.
Fabulous. No, I love the sound of it. And these are in person in a location in North London, am I right?
Yes,
Yes.
that's right. The next one is on progress.
Ah,
So we'll be talking and discussing about progress in Hybrid Islington.
right.
Yeah.
Hybrid Islington. And where do people find out more? Is it a website?
Yeah, well, on Instagram,
Yeah.
eight, it's at eight underscore underscore.
At
So
eighth underscore underscore. Okay.
yeah,
That's where people find out more
yeah.
information. So before we go, Satara, so I hope you don't mind me. I want to ask you a question then. What does strength mean to you?
I think we naturally think strength is physical. And we always see strength as something as being strong and almost within a masculine energy. For me, I actually think strength really lies within feminine energy. And in those moments of showing love and kindness when you almost didn't want to, I think that for me is strength. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. There is something I read somewhere that like courage and strength because is it I think the French word for courage is cœur, which is heart, isn't it? So it is all about love and compassion, I think, all around strength. So I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. One more question. So what's the future for Eighth? I know it's early days, but where are you thinking of taking it, or are you just trialing it out for now? What's your big vision?
Or the big vision would be to have its own gym. So for us to have our own gym, but also include the kind of other healing practices as well. So at the moment we do Muay Thai, yoga, breath work, and the women's circle. But eventually, I want to start bringing in some other techniques as well. Do it a lot more frequently. At the moment, we're hoping to do them every month, but yeah, would love to just do them more frequently.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, good luck with
Yeah.
all of that. I wish you well, and thank you again so much for sharing the story here. It's great. Thank you.